A wave of violence shook Sulford yesterday as groups of hooded individuals, reportedly numbering up to 60, took to the streets in a series of destructive acts. These individuals set up barricades using bins, hurled bricks, vandalized vehicles, and set several cars alight on grass verges, creating chaos and widespread public alarm. Among the damage was the complete destruction of a Fiat 500. Witnesses also reported reckless driving by individuals on dirt bikes, performing dangerous stunts and wheelies on nearby lawns. In one video captured by bystanders, a vehicle can be seen performing handbrake turns in the middle of the road, while others drove erratically through the area. Greater Manchester Police responded by deploying riot units and issuing a dispersal order, which remains in effect. Dozens of officers will continue to patrol the area overnight to prevent further disturbances. So far, 4 arrests have been made. One of those detained is a 16-year-old girl accused of assaulting a police officer. She has been released on bail and is due to appear in court. During the unrest, a police patrol vehicle was also damaged, with its windscreen smashed. Authorities have stressed that this disorder is not linked to immigration, refuting claims that circulated online. Witnesses described an atmosphere of tension and fear, with sirens ringing out intermittently as residents watched in disbelief while the destruction unfolded. Several roads have been closed, and although police remain present, the atmosphere is still highly charged. Salford has a long-standing history of social unrest and gang-related crime, particularly during the 1980s and 1990s. Neighborhoods such as Lower Broughton, Ordsall, and Pendleton were frequently the scene of street violence and social oppression, often involving intimidation, drug use, and recurring clashes. At present, police have strengthened their presence to ensure public safety and assist with the gradual reopening of roads. Pending any further developments, authorities have warned that any repeat of this behavior will be met with firm action. Before we continue, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more updates like this. What's your view on the situation? Let us know in the comments. In the British political landscape, one of the most talked about proposals in recent days has been the announcement from UK Chancellor Rachel Reeves, who has pledged to end the use of hotels as temporary accommodation for asylum seekers during the current parliamentary term. The measure, presented as part of a budget review, has drawn strong criticism from the opposition, particularly from Reform UK. MP Richard Tice has questioned the feasibility of the plan, calling it unrealistic and insisting that there isn't the slightest chance the Labour Party will be able to deliver on its promise. Speaking in the House of Commons, Reeves stated that the government aims to dismantle what she described as an unsustainable system, both in financial and social terms. She said the strategy would be led in coordination with Home Secretary Yvette Cooper, with whom she would work closely to phase out the country's reliance on hotels as emergency housing. According to Reeves, this shift would allow public funds to be redirected towards other key areas within the asylum system, potentially saving British taxpayers up to £1 billion a year. However, Reform UK's Richard Tice was quick to express his scepticism in interviews with the press. He argued that Labour's commitment lacked substance, adding that the country would indeed be celebrating if the government actually managed to deliver on it. Still, he maintained that, given the scale of the current problem, such an outcome was highly unlikely. Tice noted that tens of thousands of people remain housed in hotels, a situation he sees as an unacceptable strain on resources that should be allocated to British citizens in need of housing. He also suggested that the promise masked a rise in bilateral spending, accusing the government of funneling hundreds of millions more to French authorities, who, according to him, are doing little to prevent small boats from leaving their shores for the UK. He even quipped that French gendarmes were receiving photography lessons instead of taking meaningful action. The financial backdrop to this issue is significant. According to the latest reports, the UK government spent £3.1 billion on hotel accommodation for asylum seekers in 2023 and 2024. This formed part of a total asylum system expenditure of £4.7 billion over the same period. Despite recent efforts to reduce dependency on hotels, more than 32,000 individuals were still being temporarily housed in them at the end of March 2025. Although this reflects a 15% decrease from the 38,000 recorded at the end of December, it remains a substantial number, particularly for a system that has been teetering on the brink for years. The National Audit Office has issued a concerning report warning that, if current conditions persist, total spending on accommodation for asylum seekers could exceed £15.3 billion over the next 10 years, 3 times higher than previously estimated. Of that amount, 76% is projected to be spent specifically on hotels, amounting to £1.3 billion out of a projected £1.7 billion for the 2024 to 2025 fiscal year. This illustrates the degree of reliance on a system originally intended as a temporary solution, which has evolved into a permanent and highly costly structure. In her parliamentary address, Reeves blamed the previous government for leaving behind an overwhelmed and inefficient system, one that not only consumes public resources disproportionately, but also leaves thousands of people stuck in prolonged uncertainty. She stressed that this has had a direct impact on local communities, which have borne the brunt of what she described as a failed model. Her proposal, she added, is not just about cutting costs, but about improving efficiency, speeding up the processing of asylum claims, increasing the capacity to handle appeals, and accelerating the return of individuals who do not meet the criteria to remain in the UK. Despite the promises, the proposal has also been met with skepticism from several Conservative MPs who question the lack of specific detail. One of the key concerns is the obvious question: if hotels are no longer used, where will asylum seekers be housed? While the government has mentioned purpose-built facilities and agreements with local authorities, logistical and budgetary details have yet to be fully clarified. This debate comes at a time when immigration and border control remain highly polarizing topics in British politics. Pressure on the asylum system has increased dramatically in recent years, particularly with the rise in channel crossings. As a result, public discourse around the rights of asylum seekers, the use of public funds, and the government's ability to enforce its immigration policies has grown more intense. What do you think of this proposal, and of the UK asylum system more broadly? Let us know in the comments, as your voice is also part of this debate. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with the most important developments in the UK. Thank you, and see you in the next video.